The Black Ops 7 beta was a giant mix of good and bad. It could be frustrating at times, but incredibly fun other times. You'll mainly hear about it being a DLC, the community resentment towards it that led to the reveal trailer having over 500,000 dislikes to only 69,000 likes. Nice. And how much better Battlefield 6 is than it? This all leads us to ask, how bad is Black Ops 7? That is the question I'll be answering throughout the video. I'm going to start off with a big complaint by a lot of the community saying that Black Ops 7 is a DLC of Black Ops 6, which you think would make kids want to buy it because it's 6-7? I can't believe I just said that. Alright, let's get as far away from that as possible and talk about the DLC complaint. BO7 takes something from almost every Black Ops game. It takes numerous weapons from Black Ops 2, the vertical movement from Black Ops 3, allowing for the maps to be played differently, the base of BO6's movement and perk system, and the hatred of Infinite Warfare pre-release by disliking the hell out of the trailer. But is this unusual? No. Call of Duty is always going to feel like Call of Duty. COD 4 feels like Modern Warfare 2, which feels like Modern Warfare 3. The only difference is we had World at War in between COD 4 and MW2, and Black Ops 1 in between MW2 and MW3. So the only reason it's viewed as more noticeable is because we just had MW 2022 into MW3, and now we're going to be getting back-to-back Call of Duties made by Treyarch. But Black Ops 7 is just as much its own game as Modern Warfare 3 2011 was to Modern Warfare 2. Any game you show next to its sequel will look very similar because that's how sequels work. Battlefield 6 was made by trying to be more similar to Battlefield 3 and 4, and you notice it when you're playing it. All sequels aren't as good as the originals, however. Just look at the latest Star Wars trilogy, I don't think I need to say more. So when people call it Black Ops 6.5, I think it's dumb and just something that gained online traction. It shouldn't be the reason you hate the game before even playing it, or at least looking at it. If you're enjoying the video, please hit the like button so I know if you want me to keep making more of these videos where I just talk about the latest Call of Duty. Now that we got that out of the way, I'm going to quickly go over an overarching issue that Call of Duty has as a whole, and isn't specific to Black Ops 7, matchmaking. It's been the main subject of every Call of Duty since 2019, and that didn't change for the beta, with the closed beta being a living nightmare of sweat. But there is something that did change, and that was this entire section of the video with Treyarch's announcement that classic matchmaking will be the default matchmaking for Black Ops 7. So I just had to scrap this whole part of the video and remake it. That's great news and something I never expected to happen. We have finally done it through 6 years of discussion, 2 years of player numbers tanking, and Black Ops 7 pre-order numbers being bad. And while all of our objections helped make this happen, it was competition that actually made them remove the horrendous skill-based matchmaking, or should I say, engagement-optimized matchmaking that MW 2019 created. The only reason they finally listened to us is because of Battlefield 6's great reception and the negative reception of BO7's trailer, COD Next event, and first few days of the beta. This pressure has helped make them take a step in the right direction, and without Battlefield 6's pre-orders outselling Black Ops 7, I don't think Activision does this. And yes, I said Activision on purpose because they're the only ones who decide on how matchmaking works. Treyarch had wanted to remove it, along with removing disbanding lobbies, but Activision wouldn't allow them because they thought it was good for player retention. And engagement-optimized matchmaking has shown for 6 years, it hurts player retention, but Activision's put out fake studies to say it helped. Clearly it didn't, or else they wouldn't be making this change in a desperate time. Thankfully, ping is king again, and we won't have to experience trash connections and packet loss 24/7 anymore. We can casually play the game instead of Call of Duty using 6 years of hidden player data to throw you and me into hell. The open playlist in the beta brought back game variation where sometimes I did incredibly well and other times I had difficult lobbies. Every game wasn't the same, and that's what we're getting for the launch of Black Ops 7 at least. So they're finally listening to player feedback and listening almost instantaneously, which is why they also let Treyarch remove disbanding lobbies where we can actually experience Call of Duty just like we used to in the Golden Age. I think everyone should thank Battlefield 6 in the comments section and everyone who has ever called this BS out. If you enjoy my content and want to see more, please subscribe, and thank you for all your support. Now that we got all that out of the way, I'll actually review the game itself, because none of this matters if Black Ops 7 is bad. Let's start off with some good, the movement. It feels very similar to Black Ops 6, but smoother without the tack sprint and addition of wall jumping. And part of the reason it's so good is because Treyarch actually designed the maps around the Omni movement. It makes the game feel more under control and less chaotic, where the game isn't just entirely sprinting and shooting. There's actually time to think and use cover and power positions to win. And my favorite part of the movement is easily the wall jump, because it's used more as a device to get into buildings different ways or flank with different routes. I didn't have too many problems with people overusing it in fights, and it just allows for more verticality in the maps instead of just flat, boring terrain. It feels like Black Ops 3's tamed advanced movement that lets you play with boots on the ground, but still gives you the option to fly, or I guess bounce in this case, to a building. And all of this leads into the maps. They are so much better than what we got on Black Ops 6, and a number of the other recent titles. First off, they aren't tiny. Second, each map feels totally different from one another. This helps the diversity of gameplay where each map doesn't feel exactly the same. Overall, I think they are decent with C to A tier quality. This means none of them are amazing, and none of them are terrible. You won't hate the game because the maps are horrendous, which is a giant step up from Black Ops 6. I was able to enjoy each map for multiple games, but my least favorite one was probably Blackheart, because it felt the most unhinged and chaotic, but it still played very well with their new game mode Overload, which was essentially a mixture of uplink and demolition because the spawns never changed. Overall, I found it to be a very enjoyable game mode, but in order to have fun while playing these maps and game modes, the weapons need to be good. And overall, I think all of them were pretty viable and fun to use. Well, maybe not the LMG because I couldn't get a good game with that thing, and then the Dravik 45 was just way too good. But outside of those two weapons, everything else felt fairly balanced, although there were only 15 guns in the beta, so that could have helped it out. Usually the issue with modern Call of Duties is the guns all blending together and only standing out once they're meta, but each gun felt extremely different and unique. We had fan favorite weapons from Black Ops 2 Return with the Peacekeeper, the first ever DLC weapon, and the M8A1. Then I really enjoyed the Raiden 45K SMG that got overlooked a little, and then they had the M10 Breacher shotgun, which was a charge weapon. It could one-shot kill out to 15 or 16 meters if you charged it fully. I didn't use it that well at first until I realized I should actually just be using gung-ho with it. It made a world of difference. I didn't use the snipers too much in the beta, but they seemed like they were pretty good because I kept on getting dunked on by them. It felt like class builds could actually change up the gameplay, which is something that hasn't happened since MW 2019 because of overly sweaty lobbies due to skill-based matchmaking. The only way to play that worked since then was meta builds and setups. And because of the open playlist, I saw every weapon type in most of my lobbies with people playing their own way. The variety was so nice to see. I just hope the devs aren't looking to change up the meta the whole year by buffing and nerfing guns every week instead of just making a balanced game where everything is viable. Black Ops 1 ARs are a perfect example of balancing. They nerfed the FAMAS one time and never anything else. The Enfield was viewed as the worst AR in the game, but it actually had the same fire rate and time to kill as the Commando and AK-47 while having lower recoil. It showed that they only had to make one change because every assault rifle was viable. Now it feels like devs just try to create metas instead of balancing the game. All I want to see for Treyarch is to aim for balance, not metas. And continuing on that subject, I don't think there should be any kill streaks you feel like you need to use, like the air patrol from Cold War. And so far, I think Black Ops 7 has accomplished that by having most of the streaks reward you for doing well. In recent memory, most score streaks have been getting weaker, punishing players for doing well, again, just like the matchmaking. And Call of Duty at its core is about getting kills, and doing well earns you streaks to get more kills. That's why we fell in love with MW2 with the Chopper Gunner and AC-130, or the Black Ops 1 Attack Dogs. And the list could go on and on, but Black Ops 7 score streaks actually feel rewarding to get. And streaks are one of the main things that separate Call of Duty from Battlefield. Moving to the last good thing I'll talk about is the overclock system. It allows you to upgrade nearly everything in two different ways to suit your playstyle the best. It's similar to what Advanced Warfare did with the ability to upgrade your score streaks, but this one doesn't cost you anything extra. Just a nice little addition. I've been saying too many positive things, we gotta get to the bad. The doors! I thought there wasn't going to be a door problem in this game, because at COD Next, they made a huge deal about there being no manual doors that became a thing in 2019 with Modern Warfare. And when you make something such a strong selling point for your game, being doors, there better not be any. I swear, every bad thing in Call of Duty today stemmed from Infinity Ward. And they technically didn't lie at COD Next because there are no manual doors. They just have 1 billion automatic doors. I do not understand the obsession of doors with modern Call of Duty devs. I feel like the community has been saying doors suck for 6 years, but the devs just love them so much. The only positive is that Treyarch is listening to the feedback from the community, and they removed a bunch of the automatic door locations in the beta, and now they're just permanently open. Then they also said only 5 of the 16 launch maps have automatic doors, but someone decided to put 4 of those maps into the beta, and somehow it still feels like there's too many doors. A lot of people hated those automatic doors because they would get dropped in 0.1 seconds after they opened, because the TTK is a little fast. The time to kill was a big issue in the beta with a lot of people complaining. I also felt the time to kill was a little fast during the closed beta. With the packet loss and desync I was getting every sweaty match, it just felt like my game was a little bit behind and I'd get dropped immediately with no chance to react. But once the open mosh pit happened, it felt like a fairly normal time to kill for Call of Duty. I didn't mind it too much, but it was a big enough issue where Treyarch said they were going to be looking into reducing that TTK. But a much bigger issue I had with the game was the spawns. They were atrocious in every mode outside of Overload and Search and Destroy. Overload had spawns like Demolition where they never changed, and Search just doesn't have spawns. But Hardpoint, Domination, Kill Confirmed, and Team Deathmatch were very difficult to deal with, especially TDM and Kill Confirmed, where the spawns flipped so easily, and I would have enemies spawn in my spawn behind me. They just made absolutely no sense and could ruin the flow of games. These can be changed and get better, but currently they're horrible, and Call of Duty doesn't have a perfect track record with fixing spawns. The perk system is like a modified version of Black Ops 6's, which I wasn't a fan of. It's where if you pick 3 perks of the same color, you'd get a bonus 4th specialty perk, which always just made me pick a perk I didn't want so I could get that 4th specialty perk. And Black Ops 7 tried to fix this by allowing players to select 2 green perks and a red one to get a different bonus 4th specialty perk. They essentially are just trying to add a band-aid to fix an issue that needs stitches. And I think there was a way simpler way to make this a non-issue. They could have done a much better job by just using their brand new overclock system that applied to almost everything other than the perks. It was such a layup opportunity for them, where overclock on perks could have worked just like pro perks used to in Call of Duty, a feature that many people have wanted to come back. Then they also have quite a few perks that have such small benefits they feel useless to choose and could have just been an overclock bonus instead. Like one perk gives you health on melee kills. Why would you ever choose that? I think they're filler perks, that way each color of perks has more options. I really don't like it. Mainly because Call of Duty perks used to be extremely useful, but as of late they seem like they're getting less and less powerful and impactful to your class setup. It feels like they made the class setup system where it's all about the gunsmith, and it takes away the uniqueness of each class. The overclock system helped this out a little bit, but it could have done a lot more if they added it into the perks. And all of this leads to the question of the video: how bad is Black Ops 7? Not that bad in comparison to what we've gone recently. I give it a 7 out of 10, which sounds like a generic rating, but I think it's just a little bit above average. When we look at the last 5 Call of Duties we've gone, it's Vanguard, MW 2022, MW3, Black Ops 6, and now Black Ops 7. And I think the core multiplayer is better than all of those except for Modern Warfare 3. But with the classic matchmaking, I think it can be better than that. The game's not perfect, but I could have fun playing it, and the devs are immediately responding to feedback by nerfing the overpowered Dravik 45 and removing many of the automatic doors within 1 day of complaints. Is this happening because of Battlefield 6's competition? Yes. And would I tell you to buy this game? No, I wouldn't. It's because I don't trust Activision and Call of Duty after all of these years pushing out an inferior product and lying to us. They could switch back to engagement optimized matchmaking 1 month into the game if they wanted, or they could just update the game poorly. The only takeaway from this video is that I plan to play Black Ops 7 and Battlefield 6 because I think that they both can be enjoyable games, especially Battlefield 6. And the competition it's bringing is what we have needed in the FPS space for years. Call of Duty isn't alone now, and we'll have to continue to fight to keep players, which is what can help it improve. We have taken a massive step forward in the right direction, but still far from the finish line. And if you want to see how Call of Duty got to this point, click here to see its historic downfall over the last few years. I know you'll enjoy it. Peace.